Hello, everyone. Welcome to our free webinar about medical massage therapy. I look forward to meeting everyone out there and to give you some information about our specialized medical massage therapy techniques and how they can be helpful for you in your practice. So what I'd like to do, begin in just a moment, and this is mainly for the audience to get information as well as ask questions. And what I'd like you to do right now, as you can see in the area just below the screen there, which has the slide on it, if you could just type in your name and your email address, and we'll get that started. So because I'm monitoring all the questions from everyone. And also what would be really interesting is if you would put in, how you found out about us. Uh, most of my students are massage therapists. So if you're a massage therapist or a doctor or acupuncturist, which are my other types of students, that would be great. So I can learn and even sometimes customize information, especially for acupuncturists, because they have a specialized area that they need to work on. But the goal today is to tell you about our specific massage therapy techniques and especially learn about what you want to learn, what you can do, what is the advantage of taking my trainings. But mostly today I want to give you information about our specialized work. So here we see a slide here. It says, please ask questions. I really want to hear from everybody out there about what your needs are and why you're joining our workshop, our webinar today. So please add your name and your email address, and especially if you're a practitioner. And let me know if you're familiar with my medical massage therapy work through training or through webinars or for my actual patients in the Boston and Cape Cod area. And if you're familiar with the TAM healing system or even Tongren, which I think probably a lot of people out there are, Tongren and the TAM healing system, in particular, my medical massage therapy treatment style, is very, very well known in New England. So first, I want to learn about you and where you come from, what kind of work you've done, and then I want to begin and give you a little background on myself as people are coming in. And I see people chiming in already, putting in their names, and we're already starting with some questions. So first, why am I here? What am I doing? And where did I come from in order to do this specific line of work? So most people out there won't know who I am, but I was born in the Boston area, raised in Boston, but I've always had a strong interest in Asia, martial arts, and the healing arts. And in fact, I lived in Asia for 15 years. In my original career, I was a Chinese translator, and I have a BA in Chinese from BC, or Boston College. I'm presuming everyone knows what BC is. So with that said, my perspective has always been to Asian philosophies, actually even Asian art, history, the healing arts, and the martial arts, including Tai Chi and Qigong. Now, martial arts are about Qi or energy and the moving of Qi for martial or fighting aspects. But the healing arts are when you utilize those techniques for healing. And the main goal of most healing arts from Asia, as well as ours, is about opening a blockage. The important thing to understand about our specific healing is that it is not focused on the Asian meridians, which anybody out there knows about, which are like the kidney meridians and the lung meridians, which is a type of Qi or energy that goes through the body. But it's more on the Qi or energy of the central nervous system. That's probably one of the main points of our lecture today, our discussion today, is that through clinical practice, after many years of practice, opening up blockages on the central nervous system as opposed to just meridians has a higher success rate and actually a more targeted focus, including on specific organs for so many conditions. So we'll get to all that in just a moment, but right now, for myself, I'll continue on. It says when I was overseas for 15 years, and after returning to the United States, I pursued software engineering, and I was studying Asian bodywork and medical massage therapy. So, as a Chinese translator, interest in Asia, then as a software engineer, very analytical type of perspective. And then from a healing perspective, I began to study Asian bodywork and medical massage therapy, and I apprenticed in a clinic, the clinic of the Tam Healing Center in Chinatown, for over 3 years. I officially began medical massage therapy starting in 2000 as an apprentice and began a full-time practice beginning in 2004 after leaving the engineering field. I started my own practice and I left software engineering and even Chinese translation aside for this career. With my engineering side, I have to be very analytical and understand the best approach for this healing. So in a lot of ways, our healing is very unique, and I wrote books about it. I researched and studied it to verify my assumptions on the healing and really wanted to learn why it works. So I basically proved to myself, and what we're going to talk about today in our discussion is exactly why it works, how it works. And to go into further depth, I wrote some books on the topic. They're on the slide: Tom Healing System, Illustrated Anatomy, and Point Location. So that's the basic core philosophy of focusing on the central nervous system to open up blockages, to bring the body back to homeostasis. So everything we do is a simple formula of removing resistance and recovering the vitality of the body and recovering homeostasis. Very simple. So the other book I wrote is Healing Depression with the Tam Healing System and Nutrition. It's a balance of focusing on nutrition and vitality, as well as opening a blockage. And the third one, my most challenging book ever, was the book on bioelectricity itself. And bioelectricity simply means the chi or energy or prana that flows through the central nervous system. That's all. It's the human wiring of our system, just like a wire in your house. There's also human wiring that goes through the body, and these are through the nerves. And it's a very, very specialized system based upon electrons, based upon electrolytes, calcium, magnesiums, and different things. So in order to further my depth on the understanding, I wrote a book on bioelectricity, and I also studied at Duke University online course for bioelectricity. So today's lecture, today's discussion, basically it's a discussion because remember, this is really to introduce myself, but especially introduce this methodology, which I've taught all over the world, including Greece, my most recent overseas training, as well as the United States, and in massage institutes and colleges, as well as in my own clinic. So this has been trained throughout the world. And as I said, I am a practitioner of this style. I'm not just a theory person. I actually have been doing an active practice for medical massage therapy for 15 years now, and have experienced many cases and collaborate with the founders of the style in the headquarters in Quincy, Massachusetts, at the Tam Center in Quincy Center. So to get right to it, I want to summarize 5 basic reasons why our healing approach is effective and worthwhile. And this is based upon the feedback that I get from actual students. They tell me why they liked the course, why it was helpful for them. My last training was 6 students, 5 of which were massage therapists. They did traditional massage therapy. They do a great job. They studied at the institute where I taught, which was down at the Cape Cod Massage Institute. And one of the main things is that they said was to use this as an adjunct therapy to their own practice. Now, they already have a great background in the body, in anatomy and physiology, but they were really interested, and they found it quite awakening to utilize the central nervous system as we do in our training. So they all were excited to add this to their therapy. They thought, well, this is great because I can work on the muscles and I can work on the tissues. But now if I can use the muscles and tissues and open that up, and then also have access to the central nervous system to remove a blockage, to remove serious disease, they felt very excited about that, and it was a great benefit for them. So this approach, as I say, is a great adjunct therapy to bring your existing treatments to another level of healing and offer more healing strategies to our patients. So not only is a traditional massage, very satisfying, very rewarding, very relaxing, which is a good first step for treatments. Our approach is a medical massage treatment where we actually treat specific conditions, and we're going to go into those actual conditions in a moment. So that's number one. People use it as an adjunct. Some of my students that have not studied massage therapy, they use this as their own practice, as their complete practice, and they find a great benefit in utilizing this. And I mentor them through their practice and getting them started and training and practicing to move ahead with their own personal practice. So, number two, by utilizing this system, we get a deeper understanding of the systems of the body as they function, not only how they relate physically to the anatomy utilized in body work, but in terms of the functionality. When we work on the central nervous system, we are improving specific functionality of the body. Body work alone, I'm a big fan of. It works great because it does one great technique. It's called nerve entrapment. So when you release muscles, it releases the nerves. It makes the nerves more efficient. So all body work is very helpful and very beneficial. So if you can add our healing system of opening a blockage on top of that, you can be very effective, which is exactly what I do and what exactly most of my students are doing, and why this healing system has been, including myself, I've been invited in to teach in Salter and Cortiva in different locations, especially in the Boston area. So the circulatory system is greatly enhanced by traditional massage therapy as well as ours, where we focus a specific point in the central nervous system to release a blockage causing resistance, interfering with the health of the circulatory system, the respiratory system, the immune system, and even the endocrine system, because we work on some points which are located in the brain. Very simple, very easy, not invasive. We would actually work on what I call command points. These command points are the starting points that initiate and encourage the workings of the entire system. For example, the command points for the endocrine system are located in the brain, and the hypothalamus and the pituitary are the two main starting points. So if you want to make sure that you actually affect the entire endocrine system, there's no better place to start at the very beginning, where the endocrine system meets the brain. And these are very simple points, similar to acupressure. And then you know that you haven't missed anything, because if you go too far close to the target, for example, if somebody has a sore finger, you work on the finger, well, most likely the problem is in the nerves leading to the finger. And in our healing system, we actually work on the shoulders when we were in help out, say, neuropathy in the hands, because the nerves going to that area, if they're enhanced, if the blockages are removed, all the nerves from the shoulder to the fingers will benefit. And that's very powerful. We can target all these areas very, very specifically. And there's a small set of points. And these are things that massage therapists already know. And in a lot of ways, with their intuition, I know a lot of massage therapists and body workers have a great intuition. They can add this and sense how to increase the effectiveness for their patients. There's nothing better to have a better result for our patients. So people are asking what conditions can actually be used or can be treated by focusing on the systems of the body specifically. So the first one is immune system problems. By boosting the immune system, everything we do is in accordance with nature. We don't want to defy nature. We don't want to reinvent nature, because nature is more powerful than anything we can do. And the healing philosophy that we have is that the biggest way to improve health is to unleash the resources of our own bodies. So with our healing system, we open a blockage and we unleash that incredible potential. We don't drug it, we don't remove it, we don't resist it. We basically allow it to flow. And the body is built to move so strongly and to move so aggressively, to be healing. All these different systems are built to make sure that we survive optimally. So the immune system problems are boosted by working on our simple points. The circulatory system is boosted, which is great because it delivers blood flow. The endocrine system, because the hormone balancing, which is very important. And as I said before, the hypothalamus and the pituitary boost the hormones in the endocrine system. And then we are a machine that requires nourishment and replenishment. So the vasculatory system is enhanced by focusing on points which encourage oxygen, which is vital for life and for energy creation through a process called the ATP, and then nutrients and overall blood flow. And in addition to that, it removes toxins. So one question we have, and if other people would chime in, they say the screen is blurry. How do I get rid of that? Be part of the conversation box. So I'm not sure. Let me take a look into that. But it says the be part of the conversation box. If Stephanie, you could take a look or give me some feedback on that, that would be great. So anyway, everyone out there, I'm looking at our questions because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything for everyone and that everyone can see properly. And it looks very good. We have a lot of people on this call, on this webinar. We have quite a few people. It's one of the largest audiences that have ever come. And I think it's a good idea to just put myself out there so people can understand and appreciate what we're doing and to get value and to add it to their own practice. So as I said before, we treat all kinds of conditions based upon different systems. We can treat autoimmune conditions. We can treat neuralgia or neurological problems. We can treat all these different things. We can treat bone conditions. And people always ask me, what about cancer? So cancer, people say, how can you treat cancer? So the bottom line is in our healing system, we open a blockage that goes to organs. What happens when we do that? We allow the bioelectricity or the neural impulses to successfully go to that organ that is starved or deficient in bioelectricity. It's just basically underperforming because it has a deficiency. Very simple. So there are two types of deficiency, the bioelectricity and oxygen, which eventually can create systemic inflammation. So in terms of cancer, if there is a lack of bioelectricity, the organ will be undernourished or it will be underperforming. If we remove that blockage, the bioelectricity returns to the organ properly, then it can recover and regenerate, and basically like a light bulb that is crimped, the light bulb is dim. Our organs are the same. This is an electrical system that we have. On the other part, in terms of cancer, as it says here, from Nobel Medicine Prize winners, we learn that cancer is a lack of oxygen, and it deals with what is formally called anaerobic cellular respiration. So, number one, if we remove a blockage of the bioelectricity, that's number one. But number two, if we recover oxygen to the area, we are performing something called aerobic cellular respiration to the area. We are basically bringing oxygen back to the tissues. And based upon my experience and my research and lots of other therapists, cancer is actually a process of the body as a side effect, not a disease per se, but as a side effect of an environmental problem, such as a lack of oxygen and a lack of bioelectricity. So we've seen from our experience, if we recover that, and it's been proven by the Nobel Prize winner, actually Otto Warburg, that if we recover the oxygen, the triggers for cancer will go away, and the cancer genes which cause cancer will no longer continue to cause cancer as a survival mechanism, but instead the genes, the cancer suppressor genes, will kick in because the environment is now friendly and healthy to remove the cancer. So oxygen deficiency, bioelectric deficiencies, and the other thing that we're going to talk about in a moment is one thing that causes a lack of oxygen is acidity and toxicity through diet, stress, and different things. So we also work on the vasculatory system and the circulatory system to accelerate, basically, in simple terms, cleansing or the removal of toxins. So I can see from our messages that we have some Tom healing massage therapists. So it's great to hear from them because they are probably excited about the results that we have with our patients. And like I say, this is a deep tissue massage because it's very focused, it's very targeted, and it's a great adjunct. In my clinic, most patients are actually cancer patients themselves. We actually treat cancer more than anything else in our clinic. But it doesn't mean that that's your only target. That doesn't mean that's the only area of expertise that you need to focus on. But what you can understand is if somebody has a lung problem, in some ways it doesn't matter if it's cancer, if it's a breathing problem or anything, it's a lung problem. Opening up a blockage and increasing oxygen and removing toxins in that area will help the lung to recover, regardless of the name of the disease, regardless of the type of condition. If you have all three of those factors, for hundreds of years, scientists have known that these are the basic core causes of all conditions, of all diseases, and they can be reversed. They can even be reversed and enhanced through proper diet, because what does proper diet do? It increases oxygen, it removes toxins, and it increases the efficiency and can sometimes even remove a blockage in the central nervous system. So that is consistent. And the reason that I work with this system is because it is consistent with other methodologies that approach this very core set of points that are consistent for all healing, successful healing of different conditions, including cancer. It's consistent. Toxicity and deficiency, inflammation. Those three things. What interferes with those is a blockage. And opening up the right blockage in the right area can be incredibly effective. So our goal is to boost the body, not break the body down. That's what nature intended. That's what nature wants, and that's how we really heal long term. So our focus is this simple strategy, as I just mentioned, increasing oxygen, which is anti-cancer through points for the diaphragm, phrenic nerve, the heart, remove toxins from the body which are interfering with overall homeostasis, and reduce toxicity, reduce oxygen in the cells. Toxins can replace oxygen, and eventually toxins can destroy DNA. All of these things can create the environment which fosters disease. So, and the third one is we increase blood flow to the areas of tumors to reduce toxicity and remove metabolic waste. So there are two types of blood flow to areas. One is to the healthy tissues, and the other one is through what we call angiogenesis, which is a cancer tumor proactively utilizes the body to create tumors to create more cancer if the life threat, the threat to survival is there. So if anything, we want to increase blood flow to the healthy parts of the body to increase oxygen, to increase nutrients, and eventually the angiogenesis requirement of the cancer will also go away. So one last note about cancer, since a lot of people ask about cancer and treating cancer, all conditions can be addressed with this system, not just cancer. Cancer is one of many. Cancer is an organ issue usually, and we can treat all conditions related to an organ. Of course, there are no guaranteed cures, no guarantees for any cures, no guaranteed cures for anything. And working on cancer is sometimes not recommended for body work, but I disagree. And I wanted to bring up this point for massage therapists. Through my experience, I've been told by other massage therapists not to work on cancer, that we should never work on cancer with our massage therapy. And that makes sense if we massage tumors, which may spread tumors, and that makes sense if we don't really target something specifically. But overall, massage therapy is very, very relaxing and makes people feel great. So there's nothing wrong with that. But number two, we don't massage tumor areas. We work on the spine of the central nervous system, and there's nothing that we do in our work that would ever create more cancer. It works to reduce cancer. So we work on targeted areas away from the tumors, and all of that is very simple. So that is a common response that I get, and there's no danger to what we do. I've been doing it for 15 years. I know dozens and dozens of practitioners that I've taught all over the world, and there have never been any problems. And as I say, I've been treating cancer for 15 years. So just to quickly review, what is disease? It is deficiency, a lack of nutrients and bioelectricity and oxygen, and toxicity, which is poisoning of the body or a lack of ability to remove excess toxins in the body, which can eventually recycle through the body. So our healing approach focuses on these two targets. And eventually, systemic inflammation, which can be seen through tests such as CRP tests, homocysteine tests, which can be tested, calculated, and observed through trends, you can see it go back and improve. And as I said, to reiterate, our two-part approach to healing, we remove a blockage which causes interference in the central nervous system, delivering bioelectricity or neural impulses to the entire body, but especially organs, one by one, organs and glands as well. We work on thyroid and parathyroid specifically because we have the same success and it has the same methodology. Open up a nerve, increase bioelectricity, and increase blood flow. By doing this, we also can have success with autoimmune conditions. And autoimmune conditions specifically are when one of three conditions may cause autoimmune conditions, but one of them is when the organ, or the gland, I should say, is so decayed that it no longer looks normal to the body. Therefore, the body will do what it's told. It will attack it because it looks like an enemy, and it will try to destroy it. So that is one cause of an autoimmune condition. Another one is when the immune system is broken and it's overreacting, and attacking normal tissues. That is less likely because then you would think that it would attack all organs. Most likely, it's more that the specific organ, or actually the specific gland, would be actually deficient or decaying, degrading to a point where it's no longer recognized. A third actual cause of autoimmune conditions is through a food trigger. A common way that happens is through type 1 diabetes. Science has proven that triggers such as animal proteins in milk in particular that escape through inflamed colons, extra large molecules get through the colon through irritable bowel. They trigger an immune response because they are foreign and then they are larger than normal molecule that gets through the digestive tract. So unfortunately, this highly resembles a pancreas. This trigger is known and well documented to create autoimmune conditions, and there are many of them. So number two, we enhance recovery and regeneration, which is our goal. The body can regenerate. The body can recover. The body can even create new nerves. We've learned that from experience, and science has proven that in the last 70 years. We enhance recovery and regeneration by removing blood flow-related blockages. For enhancing blood flow, which increases oxygen. Oxygen is anti-cancer. Oxygen is alkalizing. It increases nutrients delivery while also cycling out toxins from the body. So we may be toxic. We may have excess toxins, especially through the diet and poor nutrition and junk food. So we want to accelerate that process by removing those toxins and replacing them ideally with healthy food, fresh plants, plant-based nutrition, healthy plants, fresh fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, especially greens and sprouts. So remove the toxins and replace it with the best food to recover and to regenerate our entire body. So here we go to number three. Open a blockage in the central nervous system. So I've been mentioning this already, and this is the primary area that we work on. The vertebra, which is working on the back. And anybody that is a massage therapist might have experienced tightness or blockages along the spine already. So we have a trick. We actually work closer to the spine than other techniques. We work right next to the spine because we want to work the closest possible access to where the nerve leaves the vertebra and goes by way of the peripheral nerves to the actual organs. And we know how to access that. And through my training, using our simple hand techniques, we will actually sense and feel a blockage, and then we will open a blockage. And one of the things we can do as medical massage therapists, we work with the patient. Sometimes they have different markers. They have cancer markers, or they have different blood work things, inflammation markers. They have PSA tests. They have all these different things that they can calculate. And like I said at the beginning, I was an engineer, so I like my data. So I would take a PSA number before they start working with me. They work with me for a month, or they do something else. And then in terms of our healing, and then we would check it again, and we would see usually it's going down. One really good one is a gallbladder situation, which is not uncommon. I had a young patient. He came into our clinic and he had a test that said that he had 20% functionality in his gallbladder. Their recommendation was surgery. They said, there's nothing you can do. We might as well just remove it because it's really not needed. So hopefully everybody out there in the audience agrees. There is a place for surgery. There is a place for surgeons. There is a place for allopathic medicine at the right time. But that's not always the case. So I work with this person personally, and he used our healing techniques. And I think it was 4 to 6 weeks later, he went back and had the exact same test. He went from 20% to 80% functionality in his gallbladder. He had a very significant blockage in the area T10 of the gallbladder. There was the blockage, when you feel it with your hands, it's like a knot. So we removed those blockages. He went back, he had 80%. They canceled the surgery, and he was fine. I also recommended he change his diet because the gallbladder deals with fat. And so he will not have a repeat problem as long as he controls his diet and he increases his exercise. It's not rocket science. Good diet, good exercise, opening a blockage is incredibly healing. It sounds simple, but it's actually quite profound. It's very simple, but very, very, very successful. So as we say here, through my training, throughout the world, we learn a more detailed understanding of opening a blockage in the central nervous system, primarily, as well as other locations, and the amazing natural resources of the body that are released for recovery and regeneration are available. So if anybody experiences exercise, what happens when you're exercising? The body is pumping oxygen and blood and nutrients, and your metabolism is going. That's healing. That means the body is working. It is cycling out bad stuff, bringing in new stuff, and it's regenerating and rebuilding everything. Our body is built to actually recover and to rebuild and regenerate every single part of our bodies after several years. So number 4, we open a blockage to enhance blood flow. So as I said in the previous slide, we open a blockage to open the bioelectricity. So that's step 1. Number 4, we open a blockage to enhance the blood flow because that is the nourishment. That is our vital supply of nutrients. So for all disease, it is critical to detoxify and oxygenate. This is primarily done through the circulatory system. So this chart, which is a chart right from my book and from my class, shows 3 simple steps that we utilize. Step 1, we follow and trace the blood flow from the heart by working on the neck, what is the anatomy term of aortic arch and subclavian artery. So basically the blood flow comes from the heart and it goes up, and then it goes to the side of the neck. In our terms, we call that the sky window in Chinese medicine. From Chinese medicine, the terms which we inherited, but basically it's the common carotid artery. And then, as you can see in step 2, it is called the carotid artery, and in step 3, it's called the vertebral artery. So many people may not be aware, but we have 2 main blood supplies for the brain. And then what happens is the secondary blood supply, which is called the vertebral artery, because as you can see in the picture, it laces through the vertebra. It actually supplies the entire spine. So number 1, we open a blockage in the vertebra, which is to open up the nerves in the spine. Number 2, by opening up step 3 here, the vertebral artery, we actually nourish those vertebrae to make sure that everything regenerates and has the resources to recover. So those two simple steps, after working for 15 years, have an incredible effect. Just those two things can have a turnaround of major illness. So number 5, the hand techniques are pretty straightforward. Most massage therapists, they already have an understanding and the grasp of what we do in terms of using hand techniques. The specific ones, as you can see in the picture to the right, is with good body work and good body mechanics. As you can see, this picture to the right is from a workshop that I did in Greece. This person here in the white is an actual practitioner. I trained her medical massage therapy and they are the teachers of the next generation of massage therapy practitioners in Greece. And their next training is in November. And hopefully everything will work out. I'll be going back to Greece in February or March. I just learned today. But the hand techniques are what are called Tui Na or acupressure techniques. And Tui Na means pull and grab. So using tented fingers, which means we have good structure not to hurt ourselves, we utilize our thumb for a lot of these, and we pull and grab and we open up a blockage and we can get good pressure. So the second part is something that people get a lot of benefit from the training and from this technique is I have a long background in martial arts and Tai Chi and Qigong. Through doing that, I have good structural body movement and body mechanics in order to utilize my body weight to be effective in martial arts as well as the healing arts. So I use my body mechanics because I'm not 6 feet tall and 200 pounds. I use leverage, I use good body mechanics, and I use good structure. I use my knees, I use my shoulders well, so that I can get the best treatment by utilizing the least amount of work. And above all, not to hurt myself. So those body mechanics are critical. And most massage therapists already have that background and understanding. So the key, number one thing that everybody needs to know from this type of methodology is where is the blockage, identify the blockage, and open the blockage. Sounds very simple, but it's actually quite profound. But this healing system itself developed because these points, this technology or this methodology, after utilizing it, shows a very high success rate. And then through years of research and practice, I learned about exactly why it works, because we open a blockage in the central nervous system, which is critical. Our bioelectrical communication is critical for the body, just as our nourishment system is critical for the body, and just as our biochemical circulation, our hormones, is critical in the body. So all of those can be corrected through our treatments. So those are 5 simple, basic reasons why I do this work, because it is so successful. It is very helpful for people. There are no side effects, and it increases the body's ability to recover, and it works in accordance with nature in order to heal and recover in a very profound, deep, and effective way. So for people that are interested, I do have a training coming up. But what I want to do first is I want to answer some questions. I have here a person is a massage therapist, 26 years. So kudos to you. You've been working with this much longer than I have. And you must be aware of body mechanics, all these different things, because it's critical for our long-term survival, especially someone who's been doing this nearly twice as long as I've been. They have to pace themselves using good body mechanics and good timing and all those different things so they can do this work for so many years. So what I would like to do is ask people specific questions right now. Has anyone on the call ever used massage therapy to heal a specific disease or condition? So I'd love to hear your cases. If you could tell me exactly what you've worked on and what kind of results you have. Another question here is, which books are you referring to? I wrote a book on this methodology as using the engineering side of my brain. It is an illustrated anatomy. The two slides that you saw earlier that I'm going to show you right here, like this one, I used a computer-aided design to create an illustrated anatomy and point location for this healing methodology. It's what I use in all of my classes. And that's one of the books. It's the anatomy and physiology, the anatomy and point location of this healing. And if people are interested in the actual science of bioelectricity, which I became very interested in, of how do we transmit electrons and biochemicals with electronic charge throughout the body. It's crazy interesting. If you're into that, and maybe my geeky side is coming out, but I find it very interesting. But our goal is not to need to know exactly why. I don't need to build a car engine to drive a car. But if you open a blockage, you unleash all of these amazing potentials. Just like when we're driving a car, we push the gas pedal. We don't need to know what that's all about. We just need to push the gas pedal. So in terms of an upcoming seminar, I do have an upcoming seminar. I teach all over the world. I teach in many places. For the massage therapy, I have a one-day class coming up on October 25th. So I'm going to put that slide back up for everyone. And I just want to show you again for these people here that may have missed this slide. The people on the right I'm training the trainers. These are people, this was my training in Greece with a wonderful couple that has their own clinic in Greece. The next training is actually in my clinic on October 25th from 9 to 6. It's basically an introductory, what we call fundamentals, but it covers the anatomy, the hand techniques, and the basic protocols for doing this technique. And for anyone that out there is a licensed massage therapist or a licensed acupuncturist, this course, all of my courses are nationally certified. So let me go up to make sure that I don't miss any questions. So in terms of people, I'm very interested to find out how you learned about it. One person learned about it through an email they got promoting this. And I am also in charge of the newsletter for the entire community, for the international community. I put out the newsletter so people can be aware. And if you're interested in getting that newsletter for all of the events, I'm happy to do that. So we have more questions, including treating in massage clinics, of course, does require for people to be licensed massage therapists. Acupuncturists are licensed to do massage therapy, and doctors, they are also licensed, and they can also utilize this technique. One doctor that I trained personally in California when I taught at an acupuncture college, he was an acupuncturist, he was a massage therapist, he was also a surgeon, and he was greatly interested in this technique because without surgery, he could access the central nervous system, and through enhancing instead of surgery, he could greatly improve his success rates and use a technique that doesn't have a side effect. For acupuncturists, for any of the acupuncturists out there in the audience, there are specific needling techniques also accessing the central nervous system right along the spine at a specific area called 5.5 Tsun, right outside the spine at a specific angle at 45 degrees to access these points, and that also opens a blockage. So the same points for this methodology at 3 basic techniques: medical massage therapy, which is mine, acupuncture, and also distance healing, which is another technique that people utilize and understand using the exact same points. So I'm going to look for some more questions at the moment. And I hope you can chime in, give me your name, and just tell me what interests you and why you're interested in this specific methodology. Most people utilize it. Even one of the other workshops I do on a regular basis, since we have so many people in my clinic coming through because we do other types of techniques, group healing classes and different things. The good thing about our one-day training is that a lot of my students at times are working on each other working on family, and working on friends. So it's the techniques are not so difficult or so proprietary that has a nobody has a difficult time to use these. When people leave this training, because a lot of my cancer patients come to the training because their spouses or their children work on them to help them heal, and it's very straightforward and you can get some really good results, even new people to the methodology. So I think we can get in one more question, and I hope this worked out for everyone. And the other question is a really good question because I really wanted to give out a lot of information today for the people to be able to have something to take away from this webinar. The question is, and it's a very good question, how is the workshop or seminar different from the webinar? From this webinar, I give information and the basic techniques. In the workshop, I give the exact details even more than I have done today because if we need more time, I spent about 2 hours on the anatomy for the specific points for the specific systems. There are very specific points for very specific systems. But the most important part of the workshop is that people get hands-on training. They usually, we break up into pairs and we use our hands to treat people and to be treated. And I guide people through that process so that their hand techniques are right, so that they can feel a blockage and actually experience the healing technique. The class is actually from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. and we do lots and lots of work on each other. And what I've developed, a very simple way, is a face-up protocol and a face-down protocol, which includes 5 basic parts, which allows people 5 simple things that they can do to give a thorough treatment, or they can add it to their own existing protocols. So very simple parts to access the central nervous system, access the circulatory system, and to find a blockage and to open a blockage. So at the end of that single day, people have the fundamentals. In advanced trainings, where I focus a whole half day on a specific condition, such as heart disease and cancer, that goes into even more depth into the specific conditions. But this single class gives everybody the foundation, the fundamentals to treat anything. And I always make a commitment to keep in touch with people and help them with specific protocols for specific conditions. So I hope that answers your question. And another question is, can they get in touch with me after this webinar? Yes, after this webinar, we will be sending out a thank you to everyone that joined the webinar, and you can reply to that specific email. You can go to my websites, which are tongrenacademy.com, and there are places in there that you can contact me. And feel free to contact me as much as you like, and we can talk about it, and I can give you more details, and especially if you have specific methodologies and want to use this as an adjunct therapy for your training. So that's a great question. So I try to make myself as available as possible to make this work for everyone. I'm continually putting out emails and newsletters. My websites have articles, testimonials, and my books are to make it easy and accessible for everyone to be able to do this technique. It's the reason I do this is because it's accessible for everyone. It's very healing, and oftentimes it is more efficient and more, should I say, compassionate to people because it enhances the relationship with our bodies and our healing and our nutrition and nature itself. And I think we have time for a couple more questions. People are asking me, actually many people are asking me to be added to their mailing list for upcoming trainings. So that would be great. And as I say, for professionals, all of my trainings, all of my significant trainings, such as this one, they all qualify for CEs for massage therapists, NCBTMB, and PDAs for NCCOM for my half-day classes, my full-day classes, and my 2-day weekend workshops. So if you need CEs, that's an additional bonus. But if you need a healing technique that's practical, easy, effective, that can be utilized within your own practice, that's the feedback that I get from my actual students, and I highly recommend it. And I love teaching, and I look forward to meeting all of you. So thank you very much for your time, and I think we've covered just about everything. I look forward to hearing from all of you, and I will continue to communicate with everyone about upcoming classes. And if you have some specific questions about the actual webinar that we had tonight, feel free to ask me. So thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to hearing from you. And I wish you all a great evening. Thank you.